Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope you all are having a great weekend. This is concerning my overall thoughts for Invincible Season 2, Episode 7. I watched it yesterday, and not too long after finishing, I realized there wasn't much that happened in the episode where I feel the need to go in depth on. Nothing that I couldn't summarize in a couple sentences. So I'm not going to be releasing an in-depth video, as you can tell, because this is concerning my overall thoughts. The episode was good. It was entertaining. The action hit when it hit, and the ending left us wanting more. However, for me, I think we're still dealing with the same issue that has plagued this entire season, which is a lack of cohesiveness. There is no reason why we are yet again getting an update on Angstrom Levy at the end of an episode, the episode before the finale. We have not touched on this man since the first episode. And I'm sure that when episode 8 starts, we're going to get a rundown of where he's been and what he's been doing. And for me, that's too little too late. This is supposed to be your titular villain. And the ending scene for this episode, as far as Angstrom Levy, that was pulled straight from the books, right? But the manner in which we got there, it feels entirely bum rushed. And I don't know what their plan is. He's not really compelling right now. He's a bit threatening, but that's about it. We haven't spent any time with him. So I don't understand why they had all of this other shit going on, knowing that you had to bring Angstrom Levy back into the fold, especially because his main beef is with Mark. So I don't know what that was about, but I'm still not a fan of that. And but outside of that, this was the best episode of the season, purely off of the fact that Amber and Mark are finally done. They finally pulled the plug on a relationship that really no one on either side wanted in the first place. So thank you for that. Thank you so much, right? Oh man. So we start the episode with Amber and Mark, funny enough, and they're at this Comic-Con thing. And the only thing I want to mention about this is the meta joke that is made, right? It's a cute little meta joke and it's pulled from the books, but it happens a little differently in the comic. Basically, Mark is getting his copy of Seance Dog signed by the creator. And Mark asks, when is the next season coming out? And the creator's like, well, I don't know. Animation takes a long time. It takes a while. So, we got to cut costs and cut measures so we can keep things moving. Like, you ever notice how when someone's talking, their mouth isn't on screen? And then it cuts to Mark and his hand is over his mouth. It's a funny meta joke. And I see what you're doing in concerns with bringing this show together and how much time that takes. However, do not get it twisted, Amazon. You are still on the hook for this horrendous release schedule for this season. And the only reason I feel that they did this was because they were greedy. Because recently, before part 2 actually came out for this season, they rolled out a new thing for Prime members where now you're going to have limited ads on what you're watching, when before it wasn't like that. And if you want no ads, you have to upgrade, and it's like an additional $3 or $4. So I think they pushed back part 2 so that they can have those ads there and be like da 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 da. And that just completely killed any momentum for the show. It killed any interest. I've seen it in my comments. I've seen it in other people's comments. Like, y'all are not off the hook for that. Just so we're clear. Okay. But after all that stuff happens at Comic-Con, Mark finds out Rex has gone solo dolo. He broke out the hospital. So he has to leave Amber and deal with that. And then that's kind of resolved. And Mark kind of decides from there, with Rex's help, of course, like, I need to have a personal life. We're setting boundaries right now. And of course, that doesn't last for too long because, hello, Mark, please. Let's see what else happened this episode. Debbie is with Oliver. He is growing at a rapid rate. He is fairly intelligent. So I'm just interested when Nolan comes back into the picture, how that's going to work for him. That's going to be very interesting. Outside of that, Donald and Rick go through a pretty heavy moment together. And I still feel whiplash when we cut back to Rick, because it just, like, where did you even come from? And I feel like they brought him back as a means to connect with Donald and kind of wrap that whole storyline. But I think it could have been done in a better way, because I'm connected with Donald. Like, his shit is directly from what happened last season. And we pick up with him right at the beginning of the season. Rick is the same way as well. I just feel like the way they could have introduced him could have been more seamless, rather than we just cut and he's here. And now all of a sudden we're focusing on him. And I was, okay, cool. But Rick is not doing well at all. He's still struggling with the trauma from Dr. Sinclair and being put back together, to the point where he considers ending his life. And Donald is the one that brings him back, because of course he, of all people, understands where he's coming from. But he reminds Rick, like, we are our own people at the end of the day. This body, this does not define us. We define us, like our soul, like everything that we can bring to the table. And I thought it was very nice. I thought it was a wonderful moment. Donald finding out he was a clone of a clone of a clone. I was like, golly, this man has died 39 times. Goodness. So, oh man, outside of that, Mark and Amber are on a date, and they're trying to find their way back to each other. And then Amber has a life-threatening, traumatic experience, because bitch-ass Anissa comes into the picture, and she's holding Amber by the neck and is like, Mark, if you don't come with me, she's dead. And I'm going to tell you, that whole scene with Amber, plus when they talk in the bedroom after the whole thing went down, that is the most emotion the character has ever shown. And I actually felt for her a little. I did. I felt really bad with that whole situation, because nobody wants to go through that. That is extremely traumatic. And that being the catalyst for them breaking up, it should have been happened, but unfortunately it took this. So yeah. And I think they tried to play it off how they did in the books, where it was kind of amicable, but I'm just glad that it's done. So I'm not even going to harp on that. But Anissa's here, and this is going to have a slight spoiler for those who haven't read the books, right? So you've been warned. But I do not like Anissa at all, mainly for the fact that she sexually assaults Mark, and in that produces a child. And this happens later on. So I don't know if they're actually going to go through with this, because this happened, like, her being a violator, it happens multiple times. And I don't know if they're actually going to go through with that. We see what happened with Amber, how they drastically changed her because of whatever, right? I don't know what they're going to do with Anissa, but when she came on screen, I was like, oh my God, you gotta be fucking kidding me. However, she was, the fight scene with her, amazing. She mollywopped Mark from here to next year, back to this year, and then 2 years in the future. She absolutely demolished Mark. And it was all in a means to try and get him to agree to help them take over the earth. And Mark was like, no. And, she was ready to kill him. And then Mark was like, you either need me or you don't. And so she backs off. She leaves. But golly, one Viltrumite. And nobody could do a damn thing. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was a great fight scene. Like, my friend and I were watching. We were silent the whole time. That was one of my favorite moments in the episode. And then after all that goes down, Mark and Amber have a conversation. They break up. Her whole thing is, I have no agency. My life doesn't matter when I'm with you. I'm just like, okay, like, let's just get it. Let's be done with this. It was clear she was really struggling with what happened, as she should. And it's just the most vulnerable we have seen her in the past 2 seasons. So I appreciated that. I just appreciated that part. Outside of that, what else happened? So the cut scene after Angstrom Levy comes into the fold, was with Alan the alien. He actually goes up against Anissa. That was a beautiful fight scene. That was awesome. I don't know where that's going to lead to next episode, but that was so lovely, because of course we were hinted at within the last episode he's strong enough to take on a Viltrumite, and he made her bleed. I was like, you go, Alan. So they went back and forth, and then he feigned like he was knocked out, but not really. So he was taken onto the ship, and we're gonna see where that goes. Overall, it was a decent episode. I did enjoy it. I just feel that trying to connect this episode in the larger scope of things, it's not clicking. It's not clicking at all. I don't know what happened between season 1 and season 2, because like the way the story is being told, it is so all over the place compared to last season. You had one central event, you had one inciting incident, and everything that happened afterwards was a result of the inciting incident, which was Omni-Man murdering the Guardians of the Globe for seemingly no reason. Here, the inciting incident was supposed to be, from what I saw, Angstrom Levy's, being born, being here. And nothing that has happened after that was a result of the fact that Angstrom Levy is now here. Because he actually wasn't here. Like, he actually just left. You know what I mean? So it's very bizarre. But nonetheless, I'm excited for the finale and to see what we're going to get. I think that's all from me. Let me know what you think or don't. Either way, thank you for listening, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.